All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Live on the Floor with Steve Spencer, SMB Capital. We are looking at the 2-week view of the SPYs right now. Earnings season is starting to heat up. There's a lot of stuff in play. I'm probably going to move quickly through a lot of names. I'm going to go through morning meeting names. I'm going to go through SMB radar names, and I'm just going to look at some of the positions traders on the desk have and do quick analysis on what those look like. Also, we're happy to take questions. And the first thing that I want to do is just kind of check back in here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's get started. So we had our downtrend, 6 days. The uptrend started on Monday. We had good follow through yesterday, and today we had a pretty nice drive off of the open up to about 146.20, which is kind of in no man's land, right in the middle of this 145.80 to 146.80 range, which would take us to our next possible target as this uptrend continues. So right now we're looking at a 15-minute chart, and you can see we've now on our 5th bar. We've kind of been grinding lower here, and the question remains, will we pull back a little bit more, get closer to this uptrend line that's forming, or are we going to power through and get back up to this 146.80 area? One of the things I said in this morning's meeting is when a market goes down more slowly than it goes up, that's a sign of a very strong market. Generally, markets tend to go down much more quickly when you have fear. People are banging out of stocks, getting out, panicking. When it's this methodical, and then as soon as the buy switch flips on, you cover this much ground this quickly, that's a sign of a very strong market, at least from my standpoint. Here's the longer term uptrend channel. We did flirt with breaking through it back here on the 12th, and we didn't go through, and we're right kind of smack dab in the middle. If you took a line and you drew it right in the middle of this channel right here, you can see that we're kind of working our way there, and the channel's working to higher prices. So if we do actually consolidate it up at these levels and move higher, 150, 152 now comes into play. Now that we spent a lot of time moving sideways and pulling back for this channel to kind of the up part of the channel to get to higher levels. All right, let's get started with stocks. I'm going to go to today's view, and I'm going to work my way down the list from the morning meeting. IBM. So here's IBM. The first play right on the open was to look at a short against the bottom of yesterday's after-hours consolidation, which was around 103.40. You can see we failed there in the pre-market, and we actually failed a couple of pennies below there right when the market started. And the most recent trade I saw some people do was it pulled back to 201.50, and it was being bought there. Couldn't take out the morning low. Some people looked to actually get long. For us to get confirmation for this trade to actually work, you'd probably want to see it. You'd probably want to see it get back above 203 and consolidate above there. Maybe that leads to a bigger up move. Next one is Cree. From my viewpoint, Cree has been a long all day. 28.50 was the level we wanted to see it hold above. You can see on the open, it had a bunch of trouble there. We're looking at the 3-minute now. When it finally got above, there was one wick down, but then after that, it started to hold higher. And for me, this has been a long all morning. Took out, let's see, the pre-market high around 28.90. Came back down to this 80 level, but again, it's holding higher, and higher. So it held above 50. It held now at 80. Now it seems to be holding above 29. So this is a strong stock. Not on the radar in the strong list, I don't think. Basically, because it hasn't moved that much higher. I'm surprised actually. It's not on the radar strong list. Let me refresh that. Let's see what we got there. Maybe I'm just missing it. Surprised it's actually not showing up on the radar as strong. But anyway, this one keeps on holding higher. Here's the longer term. And it's great. I mean, above $29 a share, holding above here. I really like that. Maybe follow through tomorrow. It takes us to 30, 50. Maybe we even do that today. Next on the list was this NPSP. I don't really think it's done that much. Hasn't really done anything, so I'll move on. FTNT, this is where my attention was focused. So basically this one, the longer term support was at $20 a share. So here's the long term. Was looking for a whoosh right on the open down to 20 to then trade it on the long side for a reversal. And right on the open, it didn't cooperate in terms of doing the whoosh. Basically what happened was it was being bought aggressively at this pre-market support area, 2045, 2050. So I got long it, got stopped out into this little move right here, below 2040, and then looked to buy it back, but wasn't able to get it at this green buy here at 20. Got long at around 18 cents, added to the position above 40. It was off the desk with stops below the half and below, I think, 35, and got stopped out before I got back to the desk. It does look like it's going to test this 20 level. It's not a particularly good sign that it's coming back down here. You can see it did do a lot of volume in this 2050 area right in the open, and it did some more volume. Did a volume crescendo on this last wick down to the 20. Been very steady though, you can see, very steady on the 5 minute since it failed to hold above 2060. So again, I looked to trade it on the long side. Was for me, 2050 at the open is 50 cents for longer term support. Big gap down. I just don't see that much downside from 2050 to 20. I'd rather look to, when I see buyers here, to trade it for a move back up to $22 a share. If I can risk 15-20 cents for a $1.50 move, I like the risk reward a lot better. At this point, if it takes out 20 and starts holding below there, no problem trading it on the short side. Here is the longer term. Below this 20, you got to go back to December 21st. The low for that day was 18.15, and it did huge volume and actually ended up closing above $20 a share. So again, if it does hold below $20, I'm happy to look for the short. Confirmation for me would be probably a move below 1960 to look to lower levels to go down to the 18s. Let's take a look at UNH. This was on our radar from yesterday as a weak stock for follow through on the short side. And did they really open it at 57.60 today? So yesterday the idea was between 57.5 and 58, look for some type of failure, and traded on the short side. It actually took a couple hours before it finally broke. You could see in the morning it came below 50, it tried to bounce up a little bit, made a lower high, and eventually right in the middle of the day you can see there was a spike in volume and took out the 57.5. If you went out shorted overnight, wouldn't have blamed you. They gapped it right on the open, and that's just kind of unfair. Although I guess if you came in shorted, it was right at your price where you were looking to enter yesterday, you could have got short some more. They crushed it right on the open, took out yesterday's low, and has now been consolidating below 56.40 all day. I think a few people should be short this probably. Yep, G-Man is shorted, Carlton is shorted, Shark shorted, Shark is shorted. So 3 of the more experienced traders on the desk, they're shorted. I'm assuming they were probably shorting against this 56.5 area and looking for it to take out today's low. The downside target we were looking at in the morning meeting was in this 55.5 area. Thought maybe there'd be some buying here at 55.80, but I'd like to see it come down to the September 28th, middle of this range and even the lower part of this range. And it's looking good in terms of at the low right now and moving lower. Alright, I think what I want to do is flip right to the week today list on the radar. I'm going to go to today. Actually, let's go 5 days so we have context. And we'll just go right to the week list. Okay, ABT. It's a pretty good down move here from 72. Would like to see it get back below this support area from the 12th, around 69.25. Starts holding below there, that's where I would look to enter. CHKP, that's a stock that people are short on the desk. Again, this is behaving very well. Opening drive to the downside. You can see also bright red, so it's very in play. It's actually number 3 on the radar in terms of in play. Anytime we have an opening drive and then we have a nice consolidation where there's well-defined risk at this 50 cents, you're probably risking maybe 20 cents at most. Another leg would look $40 would be your target if we had another leg down here from 41.5. So that looks pretty good. APOL, I actually didn't talk about it in the morning meeting because it has a tendency to be very wicky and whippy, but this is actually behaving a little bit better than it normally does. So we can see the initial move was down below 23. There was one spike up to above a quarter. It started to then hold a little bit lower. The second time it went below 23, it didn't come back up. It was pretty tight against 92 cents, it looks like. So it had one wick back up here, and this is one of my favorite trades, and I think I view this differently than some traders. So if I have a stock that it's weak and it fails, and then it has a tight consolidation and goes down, and they spray it right back up to the consolidation area, that's where I actually look to enter. A lot of times people will see this, it breaks down and it spikes back up here, and they'll actually cover their position. But what exactly, if the sellers were up here at 90 cents and they spray it back up to 90 cents, why would you cover there? That's actually where you'd want to add to your position. Hopefully into this down move you covered your risk, so you're in a position of strength. When it sprays back up, you add, and I think I actually had that conversation with one of my traders who was shorted into this and covered. And now it's going back down to the low and looks like it's going to go to new. There are no support levels, by the way. This is, if you go to the 10-year on this one, so again, behaving better today than it normally does. UNH already covered. It's actually number 4 on our week today list, but actually not that in play. Not blue, so not totally out of play, but not red, so kind of somewhere in the middle. CHRW looks really good. So initial drive down was a nice retracement here, but then started to hold around the 6180 area. Never got above 6190, so this has been very clean as consolidating against the low. So a bunch of things look good on the week today list. I want to go to the strong list now. This one's a little too thin for me, MTB. CL looks okay. I guess CL and WHR are in play today. Looks really nice. I guess 110.60 is the wick low here. Seems like there's some buyers a little bit higher than there. I'd have alert for 110.70. But at this point, you probably, with this amount of consolidation, you probably want it to break higher. So had the up move, pulled back, held here at 110.68. Seems to be trying to hold higher here at around 78 cents. At this point, I'd like to see it actually break to the upside to get confirmation that it's going to have another leg. WHR, same thing, trended higher, pulled back, 87.50. Confirmation is simply, you can see on this initial pullback from the uptrend, it held here, then broke below, it failed to hold above. If it starts, let's say, 10 minutes, spends 10 minutes above 88 bucks, you're in good shape for a move back up to the high. KBH, we got to look at the longer term. This is important that it's spending a lot of time up here at 16.5. We know that last time it got above 16, got to 16.33 and failed. This looks really good for another squeeze, heavily shorted, and couldn't even pull back to its prior low, its prior high from when it broke out the other day, which was 33 cents. Couldn't even get below 40, so this is really nice. And in this case, you're trying to build a position probably in the mid-40s here, mid to high 40s with stops below 40 cents and below 33 cents. That's a good risk reward if this thing runs to 17, 17 and a quarter. Okay, RYL, I just skipped down to that because you see all these are black here and this is blue, they're not in play. Actually, WDay is an IPO, so we don't have enough data on that one really to say. RYL, modest red, and it's like number 10 on the list, 15. So this is interesting. So it's not that much volume. I guess I'd be really careful on this one here. It failed at 32.50. Maybe have an alert at 32.50 if the volume starts to come in a little bit more. See the low volume here? So it looks good on the radar, but when you look at the longer term, it's kind of a dangerous area here. But I continue to keep an eye on this one over the next few days because it is trending up nicely. And let's say you get a move above 33 bucks with some volume, that could create another up leg on that one. Okay, I think I'm going to call it a wrap. Just want to check back in with this FTNT. Just remember, watch what it does here, because this is a very important level, this 20 level. on the 6 month. You can see it bounced from here, and we went back a year. It held up here really nicely, even on this day that it whooshed down to 18 1/4, closed at that level, and so it's really worth watching to see if it does anything off of this 20 level. And on the market again, we're watching below 145.80. We would look for maybe a little bit bigger of a pullback. But take out the high from today, we're looking at 146.80 for upside. And then again, if we consolidate over the next few days and break to the upside again, there's a lot of room to catch up to the upside of this trend channel that started going back all the way from the June 4th low. Thanks for joining us on Live for the Floor, and we will see you on Friday.